Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby if you don't already know me, and I love to talk all things personal finance, organization, and lifestyle. Today's video, we are going to do the December money reset. So I will be doing a dedicated December financial reset video. We're going to be chatting all things money today, and I definitely have a lot of thoughts I want to get into revolving around money, especially right now during Black Friday and the holiday season. It is a difficult time with finances. So I want to do like a little bit of a money chat at the very beginning, and then we'll dive into the monthly budgets for November, and then we'll also set a budget for December as well. If you are new, you should consider subscribing. I do regular financial related videos along with lifestyle and other things that I enjoy, like plan with me's, vlogs, things like that. So if you're into that sort of thing, you should definitely subscribe and give this video a like. It really helps me out. And without further ado, let's get into the video. I like to do a little bit of a recap on who I am, you know, all of my stats, all of the things that relate to myself and my finances, just because there are a lot of people who watch these videos who don't really know who I am. And I feel like that is important context before I dive into exactly how much money I spend, things like that. I am officially 30 years old, just turned 30, and I live in Vancouver, Canada. Me and my boyfriend split this 1-bedroom apartment. We currently rent it. We have very affordable rent for this city, so I actually have very low fixed costs. My current financial priorities are investing. What first and foremost, I am aiming to invest 30% of everything I make. And then beyond that, I also like to save and put money into my sinking funds. I have a full emergency fund. It's not exactly where I want it to be, but it's definitely more than I need for like 3 to 6 months of expenses. I recently tapped into it for a trip I went to go to Italy. So that's why it's not completely full, but I already had a very comfortable amount in there. So even though it's down a bit, I'm still comfortable with what I have. I think I have like 13,000 or 14,000 or something like that in my emergency fund. So everything I save is either going towards my business taxes for things like YouTube and Etsy. Outside of that, it's just sinking funds for spending on things I enjoy. And my ethos for money is definitely be financially responsible, invest in my future. I want to retire relatively early. I want to enjoy my money. I don't want to miss out on life along the way. So I definitely spend money. I'm by no means a frugal person. I definitely don't want to completely be frugal and like cut myself off from the things that I enjoy. I want to spend my money while I'm investing and all that. But I'm also trying to constantly cap my natural feelings towards lifestyle inflation. And I think that's definitely a topic we should touch on, is lifestyle inflation, because I think I need to be honest with myself about that a little bit. Why don't we just sort of dive into the money chat now that we have all of that context? Okay, so how am I feeling about money? A little bit crappy, if I'm being completely honest. Let me get my tea. So yeah, I've been feeling a little bit crappy about money. I'm not gonna lie. I think just spending as much as I have in the past couple of weeks just doesn't feel good. It feels abnormal for me. It feels impulsive. It feels frivolous. It feels like I'm spending the way I used to without a care or thought in the world. But I do have to remind myself that it is very different. I had a lot of these purchases that were planned and that I had on a list for quite a while, and I was like planning on buying these things. There were definitely a few impulsive buys, like do not get me wrong. There were definitely a few impulsive buys and expensive ones at that. But yeah, it's tough dealing with Black Friday, honestly. This time comes every year, and I always think I'm going to have, you know, restraint, and that it's something I've built over the year, and it's just not. Marketing is powerful, and they play so many tricks on us. And it's not always on the consumer to have self-control. I feel like marketers are exceptionally good at playing with psychology to make us spend. It's just kind of the way it is, and there's a reason why it works, and it plays on psychology. And I'm very aware of like the psychology of money here on my channel, because I think that's such an important part of finances. We need to take into account, if we could all just do what we willed ourselves to want to do, we would all be like perfect people, you know? All of us would be buff and walking around with so much money, right? And there's a reason we're not. It's because psychology is important. We can't all just stop spending. Like it's it's really hard. It's a difficult thing to do. And I think by guilt tripping ourselves because we spend, it doesn't lend to anything productive. So I think what I always try to do at this time of year is I know November is going to be expensive. I know it's hard for me to deny myself these things. So what I do every year is I have sinking funds specifically for this time of year, just so that I don't cause myself to go into any sort of credit card debt. I have money I can tap into for my gifts. I have extra money I can tap into for my spending that isn't my emergency fund as well. Like, do I want to use it? No, but it's nice to have that cushion just to make sure you're not putting yourself in a detrimental financial situation. And then on top of that, I also like to go into December with like a low spend sort of attitude. I always buy all of my Christmas gifts in November, so I really don't have that many costs in December itself. I usually can keep my costs relatively low in December. So that's definitely what I'm gonna do as well, just sort of just counteract the spending that happened here. And also I try to like be mindful of if I bought a bunch of stuff in this month, then try not to buy that stuff for a little while. For example, I topped up on all of my activewear in this month. I have so much new activewear. I will not be buying activewear until at least like June at the very latest. Like there's no way I need activewear anywhere near from today at all. So if you see me buying activewear, remind me that I shouldn't be buying activewear. That's just sort of how I like to balance everything out. It's all about zooming out and looking at the bigger picture. So for example, for me, I was feeling really down on myself about my spending. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I have hit all of my financial goals this year. I have invested 30% of my take-home pay. I'm super happy with my investments overall. I've already like surpassed the $100,000 mark for my personal investments. So my money is compounding and growing on its own as I do almost nothing. And I'm still contributing a good amount towards them every single month. I try to zoom out and just look at the bigger picture. Like, why do I need to focus on how bad my spending was right here, right now, when the overall picture of this year was good? Do I want to keep an eye on my spending? Absolutely, because I do feel like lifestyle inflation has started sort of picking me up. It's definitely there and I can see it in my budget this year compared to last year, but I also need to zoom out a little bit. I'm making more money, and I always said that if I make more money, I'm allowing myself to spend more money. I just have to make sure that the ratio of how much I'm saving and investing remains the same. So that 30% is what I always aim for. That's a little tip. If you are hitting your overall financial goals for the year, if you have savings, if you have all these cushions, you're not paying credit card interest, then like, why are you punishing yourself just for being a human and not being able to completely control yourself during this crazy marketing time of year? Let's dive into the November budget and you can kind of see what I'm talking about with all these crazy numbers. As always, if you are interested in this budget tracker, I will leave it in the description box down below. If this is before December 2nd, there is a Black Friday discount on this budget tracker. It's 75% off for the Black Friday week. If you are curious about this budget tracker and it's before December 2nd, you should definitely pick it up because it's very, very cheap. So total income for the month was super high at $12,827, and none of that was from sinking funds. I had pulled a lot of money in my last monthly spread from sinking funds. So I'm happy to see that my income for the month isn't coming from savings. This is because it is a 3 paycheck month, and also because it's the end of the year, I don't have to contribute to my pension anymore. So I get more per paycheck than I normally do. So my typical pay was $28.23. And then on top of that, I had some bonus money. I have birthday money I finally deposited. Portion of this bonus is also money I get for paying my family's mobile plan. They just e-transfer me their portions. I pay the full bill. So that's a portion of this bonus. And then I think this is also some money from my boyfriend's benefits that cover my massages that I get and like naturopathic appointments. So that's the bonus money. It's not like actual income. It's more so, well, I guess if I get birthday money, it's kind of income, but yeah, it's like bonus income that doesn't categorize anywhere else. Etsy, I so far have made $1,700 this month from Etsy. And that is large part because Carter Sullivan mentioned my budget tracker in her monthly reset video for November. Thank you so much, Carter, if you are currently watching this. That was an incredible surprise. Such a weird feeling to see somebody using my budget tracker, especially somebody that I've watched for years and years and years. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of the budget tracker success this month owed. What am I trying to say? I definitely owe the success of the budget tracker this month to Carter. So thank you so much, girl, for mentioning my budget tracker. I hope you love it. Then I also had a budgeted amount for $500 for a returned item. And this was supposed to be for a flight that was canceled in Italy. If you guys know the whole backstory on this, there's like a whole lore. There's a whole backstory on this. But basically, I had a canceled flight. They're supposed to pay me the refund for my flight and then also the inconvenient charge for the cancellation. I was expecting about about $500. They are not answering us. It's been like a week of no answers and we followed up. So I don't know when I'm going to be paid this money. They haven't even refunded us the flight. It was canceled. So they haven't even refunded us that value. Do not fly with British Airways. They suck ass. I will never fly with them ever, ever, ever again. YouTube AdSense. I said I was going to have a big AdSense paycheck because one of my videos from August like popped off in the month of October. So this is from October, $1,500. Wild. So wild. It's already like my AdSense is right back down to normal again. So this was like a fever dream, but so crazy to get paid this much from YouTube. And then my Gumroad is my Notion template that I sell. I also will leave the link down below, but this was a total of $269 from Gumroad. So that is a very high month for income. Very high month for income. $12,000. I think I once dreamed of making this much money in a month. It's actually crazy. So wild. Okay, let's move on to expenses. So I budgeted a total of $3,700 and I spent $4,900. But I did know I was likely going to spend more on clothes than I budgeted. I just didn't want to give myself the allowance because my brain will do crazy things if I give myself a crazy allowance. So I said $500, which to you might sound like an incredible amount of money to spend on clothes. But for this time of year, this is quite low for me. Last year, I think I spent $1,500 on clothes for myself. So I'm actually lower than last year at $1,000. But let's go through this in order. So transportation, I only spent $134 and that was to gas up and I think some minor other thing that's relating to my car. So that's very good. It was below budget. Groceries, I was at $584, which is over budget by $84. Hopefully I don't need to buy anything else before the end of the month. I'm currently filming this on the 25th. So I usually go until like the 27th or the 28th of the month. So I do have like 3 more days that I will put values into this budget tracker for before December starts. But I'm just like hoping I can have like 3 no spend days ideally. This is a little higher, but honestly, not too bad. $80 over is not very bad for groceries for me. Eating out, I am only $5 over, but I think I had a lower budgeted value, but I ended up going out 3 times for food this month. So, I also don't have my purchase from yesterday on this. David paid for me. So technically this should be closer to like $140 because I spent $30 yesterday on dim sum. About $140 is what I spent on eating out, $40 over budget. Coffee, I was hoping to keep this below the $60 amount. I actually had it at $80 beforehand, but I changed it because I was overspending on eating out, but I forgot that our Nespresso goes through. We have like a subscription where we save 10% on monthly. We get like a credit through Nespresso and then we buy our pods with that credit. So I forgot that that went through today. So that is that. Drinking and cannabis, $0. I haven't had a drink. I haven't had any cannabis products. I have been a sober little bird all of November. So great way to save a little bit of money. I'm glad I did that during an expensive month because it's just an easy way to add on costs, you know, if you're getting a cocktail when you're going out to eat, things like that. So very happy with this. Clothes. $1,000. I'm officially done. Actually, no, I'm not. I need to get a pair of running shoes still, so I do have to add on like a $200 pair of Clifton 9s I'm going to be buying, but I've been waiting for them to go on sale somewhere. I haven't seen them on sale anywhere yet. I really want the Gore-Tex ones, especially because I run in Vancouver. So I think that because they're new, they're not going on sale on many sites, and they might not at all. So I might just have to buy them full price, but those are going to be about $200 with tax, like $217, something like that. I do have birthday money though that I'm going to use that birthday money for the Cliftons. So I got like $200 from my brother and my sister. I'm going to be using that towards these shoes. Hope that makes sense. Beauty, $631. I only budgeted $150 and I actually only spent like $140 during the Sephora sale. So I actually was like, yay, I'm going to be on the nose for this. But then I ended up buying the like laser hair removal device. If you've seen my last video, it was what I spent in a week. And I ended up buying a laser hair removal device for like $400. So that is why this is so over the budgeted value. I was so good until that happened, but I'm actually really excited for the device and I will keep you guys up to date if it works really well because the at-home laser hair removal compared to salon is like crazy savings overall. So if this works, I think it's a good way to go about it if you're considering laser hair removal. So I definitely will keep you guys up to date on that. My pets were also quite expensive this month. David had a day where we ran out of food and I had already left to go to work before we realized. and then he had to get delivery food for them, and it was so expensive. It was like $80, and the food lasted us like 5 days. So that's a portion of why this is so expensive. And then we also switched up their litter system. So we got 3 months of Pretty Litter this month, and then we also bought a new tray for our litter box as well. So that's why this is so high for the pets. Health, I was budgeting, I think I budgeted a little bit more, but I took out the amount that I spend on my massages and my naturopath appointments because they're fully covered. So I took them out of the budget. So what I do basically is I still log them in my expense tracker so that my values up here are correct. I just deducted those values for those appointments off of this budget amount. I just found that like I was really ganging up on myself for how much money I spent, but then I was like, but like $400 of it was like 100% covered. So that is that. I did spend a lot of money on supplements. I went to my naturopath. I'm losing hair. I don't want to talk about it, but I have like a whole hoard of supplements I'm back on. I spent like $250, I think, on supplements total this month. And then what else did I spend? Oh, I signed up for the Sun Run with my work. This is like a 10K here in Vancouver, and my work will actually cover the cost of it, but only after you run it. I have to put this on my card in the meantime, and then in April or May or whenever, I will get the refund back. I also paid for blood work for my naturopath appointment. Back to gifts. So I budgeted about $1,500 for gifts, and I actually haven't bought everything, but I've kind of budgeted out how much I want to spend per person, and I think I'm only going to be at $1,361. So that is actually cheaper than I thought, and I think this is because we bought some stuff in Italy as gifts for family and friends. So that was in October that I spent the money on that. It makes sense that this is cheaper than I expected it to be, so that's good. And then home, I spent $225. I budgeted $200, and I'm actually shocked this is only $225 because I feel like I bought a lot of home stuff. I think because me and David do split a chunk of the home stuff. Like if I buy straight up Christmas decor, that's just like my own like happiness sort of shopping, then I obviously pay for it. But I did buy some items that are going to be in the home year round, and usually for that, me and David will split it. Yeah, that is why this budget is $225 for this category. So that's great. Oh my God, I haven't donated yet. I will donate the full amount. I need to figure out exactly what I want to use it for. And then business expenses, I pay for Upbeat for music. So this is $7. Bills and subscriptions, we are basically on the nose for all of these. I pay $1,100 for rent, as I mentioned, for this apartment. My mobile plan is so high because it is for my family members and me, and then we just divide it. I think this will change in December. I am gonna go rogue because I have a phone that I fully own now. So I'm going to just like bop around different companies to try to get the cheapest price. I'm currently paying like $87, and I have a phone that I'm leasing that I actually don't even use. I got a new phone and didn't realize I wasn't able to return this phone until the 2-year contract was up. That's annoying. I've been paying for a phone I haven't been using, but that all ends in December. So I'm excited for that, and then I will be a free agent and I can get as cheap as possible mobile. So I'm looking forward to that. Me and David's utilities and internet hasn't been charged to our couple's card just yet, so I don't know exactly how much these values will be, but they're usually about $40 for utilities and $60 for home. And then I have my Ren. Ren is a subscription service that helps offset your carbon footprint. So you do a little quiz, you figure out how much your carbon footprint is, and then you offset a portion of it or all of it if you want to with carbon initiatives by paying every month. So that's cool. And then I have my TD checking fee. This is just the fee to hold a checking account if I don't have a certain amount of money in my checking account. So that's $11. And then I split the couple's Amex charge with my boyfriend. So that's $650 for my half. So I haven't actually done the full savings yet. So maybe let's do that right now. But what I usually do is I put 30% of my income from business income into business taxes. So I think that's estimated to be about $975 right now. So this is just using a little formula here. So let's update this. So let's say the budgeted value is exactly the same. So I should be putting about $1,100 into my business taxes. I was just paid my YouTube AdSense into my savings account. So automatically $1,100 of the $1,550 whatever will go into business taxes. And then the remainder I'm gonna dump into one of my other savings accounts. I haven't decided yet. I might also invest it. Oh yeah, I should probably mention this if you're new here. I have automated savings and investments. So every single time I get paid, money gets pulled from my accounts automatically, especially because I have a salary job for my 9 to 5. My money is always the same, and it's really easy for me to pick a set value for automated investments and savings. And this has been the #1 contributor to my success in investing and saving. I have never missed one. I do not turn it off. If I overspend, then I got to figure out another way to get that money onto my cards. I never ever turn these off. So I would highly recommend that to anyone. I personally use Wealthsimple here in Canada. It's my favorite platform. They make it so easy to do all of this sort of automating and making it so you don't have to worry too much about all these numbers. So my goal for the month was to invest $3,000. And I actually have done that because I turned up the dial on my retirement auto invest so that I automatically was going to hit the 3,000. But I do have some leftover money from savings that I might put into investing, or I might put it into my emergency fund because I am trying to get that back up to where it was before. I need to figure it out. We also might need to keep a little money in my account for my credit cards next month, just because the bills from this month will be due next month and I won't have 3 paychecks next month to pay for all of the bills. I might actually just start dumping money onto my cards before the month's even over, just so that I don't have to worry too much about it next month. My total savings right now for my emergency fund, which is my Wealthsimple cash, I put $275 in there. I put $300 into my holidays account because I hadn't fully topped it up to the $1,500 in October. So this is like finishing off the $1,500. I did the $300 and then I've stopped. And I actually found out this month that I have a destination wedding next year in Mexico. So it's actually an all-inclusive, and I already know the exact amount of money I need for September 2025 is the day that I have to like pay the amount for the wedding. So I know that I have to start contributing $115 every single paycheck to that account to be there at the wedding before the official day I have to pay. I did the math, I figured out how much I need to contribute, and so for the rest of 2025 until then, I will be paying $115 into this account. It's currently called my Italy account just because I didn't want to change the names because it will mess up all the drop downs, but this in 2025 will be my travel account. That's how much money I'm going to be putting into there. I think that that is everything. Investments, this is my normal amount. I put $125 into my TFSA. This is the amount that I needed to max it out for the rest of the year. So I dumped a little bit of like a lump sum at the beginning of the year, and then every single paycheck, the same $125 goes into it. So at the end of 2024, I'm going to have a maxed out TFSA, and then the FHSA is the exact same. I do $150 into the FHSA. I did the exact same process for that. It will also be maxed out at the end of 2024. And then the remainder of what I invest goes into my retirement because I have not maxed that out yet. And I contributed a total of $3,000 to my investments this month. So as much as I harped on myself for my high spending, I also invested quite a bit of money. So I'm not upset about it. And I'm probably going to invest a little bit more if I can. I just need to figure out how much I need to put on all of my cards before. So I might invest even more is what I'm trying to say. Okay, credit cards. I just had to pay all of my bills throughout the month. I pay my statement balance and that is it. And I also need to do some math to figure out how much I owe on the couples card because we had the whole flight situation happen in October and we were waiting for refunds. And yeah, if the refunds come in time, then we don't have to pay as much. So I'm just going to wait until that bill is due on December 4th. So I'll probably know in a couple of days here what I'm going to be contributing, but I estimate it to be about $600 that I owe on that card. No debts as usual. Okay. Oh, and I will cover the account balances here. So total right now after rent and everything, I should have about $4,000 in my checking account. And then I should have 110 on an RBC card. I have one of my bills that was just going on my RBC card. I don't usually use this card, but whatever. My Neo card is sitting at about $730, and then my TD Visa should be sitting at about $2,800. So I probably will pay that off before the month's even over, just to get it over with, and then I don't have to do it in December. Okay, let's go to December. So we obviously will not be making as much money in December, and I had a look at the minimums of what I've been making for Etsy and AdSense and Gumroad over the last few months. I haven't really had a month where I made less than 900. Let's just call it 800. I don't want to over budget. You know, I like under budgeting and then having extra money. $800 from Etsy, $800 from AdSense, I will assume. Actually, let's go $700. I think it was a lower month. And then Gumroad, let's say $150. So I should have about $68.20, which is a far cry from November's pay. This is why I want to pay off my credit cards before we go into December. Okay, so groceries, I have budgeted about $400. I'm going to be away from the 19th onward for the end of the month. So I don't think I'm going to have too many groceries after the 19th. I'm going to try to go $350. I'm going to try to go $350. I've canceled or I've skipped all of our Fresh Preps. We love to use Fresh Prep, my favorite delivery meal service kit. It's a Canadian company. I love them, but I've skipped them all for December just to save us some extra money. They are actually quite affordable. especially in this economy right now. But just to be safe, I have skipped those, and I want to do more like beans and legumes and like really go cheap in December just to see if I can have a low ass grocery month. So we're gonna try it. Transportation, I said 150, which is usually like my gas up amount, but I actually might try to gas up in the month of November, just so I don't have to in December. I know that that's kind of cheating, but like I'm already over budget in November, so. And December is one of the months where I want to do a low spend month. I want to spend less than $17.50 on my expenses. This is like an overall financial goal for the year. So if I can just top my gas up in this week at the end of November and then not have to worry about gas in December, I feel like I'd be on a better track to potentially hitting that goal. But is that cheating? It's probably cheating because I haven't even put it in my November budget yet, but whatever. Eating out, I do have a lot of plans to eat out. I have lots of family dinners. I have lots of hangouts. I don't get to go home that often, so when I go home, I'm usually pretty booked up with like dinners every single night. So I said 200. It might be closer to 250, so let's do that. We took a bit away from groceries, so let's call it 250. Coffee, I have the 45 from Nespresso for the credit, and then I think about $20 more. I also have a gift card I can use if I really want to get a coffee from a coffee shop here. So I think 65 is going to be fine. Drinking and cannabis, I loved not drinking in the month of November, so I do want to kind of continue the like low spend on drinking and cannabis. So I said about 50, which I think should be reasonable. I have lots of holiday parties and things like that, but I don't want to spend too much money, so that's okay. We'll do that. Clothes, I'm giving myself 0. I don't need anything after November. 0. And I also want to spend 0 on beauty, except for my Botox appointment. So I have a Botox appointment at the beginning of the month. Outside of that, I will be spending no money on beauty, no money on clothes. I'm just gonna have to get by with what I have. I spent so much money on the 2 categories. I don't need anything further. So that is another way I like to like balance everything out. You know, if you got the deals, then you got to make sure that you're actually not continuing to spend the amount that you normally do. Otherwise, it wasn't a deal. You know what I mean? Okay, fun. I want to do some Christmas events and things like that. So I think about 100 should be good. My pets, I said 150. Hopefully it's just the food. We've had so many high cost months with the 2 of them. 2 cats is no longer like a cheap thing. I don't get how people have like 5 cats because it like fully doubled with having a second cat. I cannot believe how much money we spend on food and stuff. It's crazy. Health, I said 90 just in case I need, oh yeah, there is like a monthly supplement I get that's $90. So expensive, but if it stops my hair from falling out of my head, I will pay any price at this point. I'm so over it. Gifts, I think just in case I forgot anything or I need to just get like wrapping paper or little things like that, I said 100. My plan is just to have no gifts needed at all, but there's always something I forget. So 100 there. Home, I said 50, you know, just in case there's something I'm not thinking about. I like to put something in these categories and that way I have a little buffer. And I'm still, oh dear, I'm at 1884. I guess I have to take the, oh right, because this is the, yes, of course. Okay, so I'm actually over the 1750, so I'm gonna take the home away because I don't think I need anything from home. Oh man, okay, so because I had that destination wedding, I have to put a deposit on the account in December, and that's 192. So I might just like disregard that from the 1750 budget cap because like I have to do that month and I wasn't planning on it. And I don't really think I can cut too many other categories down that much either. So yeah, I'm just gonna pretend that the $192 isn't part of the 1750. I know I always do that. I know I always have this like excuse of something I'm gonna deduct off, but like I couldn't have seen that one coming, you know? As I mentioned, $192 is for locking down a room for the destination wedding. And donations, I still want to donate. We'll do $30. And business expenses, obviously Upbeat. And then I also need to be mindful that I have my Canva Pro subscription in December. I thought it was in November, but it's actually December. So that should be about $170 if it's the same amount as last year. So that is a bill that's coming up here. And then I think I will have internet still. So that should be about $60 here. And the couple's Amex charge $650 as well. Okay. Savings, as mentioned, 30% of what I'm expecting from business pay to be in my business taxes. Then the remainder, I'm going to do the 115 paycheck, the 115 per paycheck into that wedding account that I'm doing. So that's 230. And then I'm going to be going back and topping up my Orlando fund, which is like my cat sinking fund. I will top up my car sinking fund. That is supposed to be for my car insurance every year. And then also for like any sort of mechanic work I need, which I feel like I haven't had a car situation in a little while. So I feel like I'm due for like something to break in my my car soon here. So I don't want to end up with no money in that account for my insurance. So I do want to get back on that. And then also Beauty Save, because I will be pulling money out of my Botox account. I do want to start putting money back into it. And then I have my Wealthsimple cash, which is my emergency fund. I also want to add money into that as well. If you're wondering, the savings, I always just have the same amount go into savings, and then every month I kind of just like throw it to whatever account I want to. All of my savings sit in the exact same account. It's a high yield savings account with 3.5% interest. I just use this budget tracker to track how much money is in all of the accounts. It's actually like super easy. And then I don't have to like worry about money sitting in all of these stupid other accounts. Like the bucket system is great until you need to take money from a bunch of the accounts. It's very annoying. And then I wanted to keep the momentum of about $1,000 every paycheck going towards my investments. So that is the plan. And then obviously I will have very high credit card bills for the month. So about $4,200. So with the budgeted values, I think I should actually be fine for the month of December, even with the crazy credit card bills and even with the lower pay. So that's always nice to see. So all in all, the shopping, the crazy spending didn't really cause me any harm. And that is why I like budgeting, because I like sitting down and just looking at the numbers, and then facts are facts, data is data. And yes, I spent a lot of money. Yes, I'm feeding into consumerism culture. Yes, there's a whole horde of things that I'm probably doing that is not super healthy financially. I'm probably using some of the spending to make myself feel better. I'm probably a little bit addicted to shopping. I get it. Like I'm not saying this is an amazing thing is to go spend a lot of money. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff happening in the background, but I'm a human being. I'm a human being that has feelings and emotions and, you know, a history with money and finances, and a family history with over shopping and over consumption, and, you know, always needing to look good and always needing to present well. And yeah, I love shopping for clothes, and part of me wonders, is that because I always feel the need to like present myself in a certain way to the world? But like part of me also is like, no, I feel good when I present myself in a way where I feel good. I don't know. I need to do a little deep dive on that in like a therapy session. But I'm not saying that spending the money I did is amazing or good and that you should go do it. I'm not saying that. I am just saying that like this heaviness on my chest of like morbid feeling of like I've ruined my financial future is not necessary. And that's why I like sitting down with the numbers and kind of getting it off my chest and then being like, okay, deep breath in, the world moves on, just do better in the months coming forward, and then everything will balance out. I do this every year, and then I look at my overall financial goals and I'm like, I tick them all off. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. Okay, that was a very long-winded.
Hello everyone. This is Gabby from the future here to let you know that I continued shopping. Yeah, bet you didn't think I was gonna do that. I will put up some updated values for expenses for the month of November here. I ended up spending an additional $579 on myself for clothing. Yeah, not proud of myself, not my finest hour, but in this haul was another round of Aritzia stuff that I had in my wish list that I ended up taking out of my original cart, and then I just kept on thinking about them over the course of like 4 days. So I ended up grabbing those things, and then I also picked up a cashmere sweater from Reformation, which I'm so excited about, but it was not cheap, and luckily there was a 25% off code, so I kind of thought, this is not an excuse. I definitely know that this is not great, and my impulsive shopping tendencies are kind of surfacing right now, but I am going to try to do like a no spend on clothing until like at least the springtime to balance this out, so it all sort of levels out, if that makes sense. But yeah, I did just want to let you guys know that there are some updates to the budget tracker for the month of November. I did also pick up some home stuff, including some desk organization. I also decided to sporadically buy a Ninja Creamy. I then also decided that because Nespresso had 15% off if you bought 300 pods, that was a good idea. I mean, it got bad, you guys. It got really bad. So there are some updates. Not proud of it, but we are definitely just going to try our best to not spend in the coming months. Use this as a season where we're actually saving money by buying things that we are not going to be buying in the future. So my one tip to you guys is, if you had a really bad month, if the deals got to you, then try to actually make it count by stopping to spend in the categories that you typically spend on if you overdid it this month. So for example, I will not be buying clothes and beauty products or home gadgets or anything like that for the foreseeable future, and that way it's as though I just spread that amount over the following months instead of just having a big monthly spend and then going back to my usual spending in the future. So I am looking forward to having lower spend months in the beginning of the year and offsetting this cost.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how your whole experience went with the Black Friday shopping. Were you guys tempted? Did you remain strong? If you did, I'm so proud of you. That's incredible. I hope you guys are, staying in financial good health at this difficult time of year. Sending my love to you all. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like. It really, really helps me out. And subscribe. I do lots of financial content and I have my net worth update video coming up soon. So if you don't want to miss that one, definitely subscribe and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.